Hey everyone, Liam here back with another video of TRI weather. For today's top weather news and headlines, severe weather season is in full swing as severe weather over the next couple of days targets over 100 million people across the United States, all the way from the far north into the deep south. I'll have Storm Prediction Center maps with wind, tornado, and categorical outlooks, future radar, rainfall amounts, and more. And also, with this very same storm system, numerous blizzard warnings are currently in effect, with over 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts and over 2 feet of snow is all possible. I'll have all of this and more coming up in this video of TRI weather. Alright, today is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. Starting off, as always, with the National Weather Service hazards map that is rather active right now, mostly across the central United States, with still numerous red flag warnings, meaning low relative humidity and high winds leading to good conditions for wildfires to spread. And with those red flag warnings are some wind warnings, watches, and advisories. And into the far north and Rocky Mountains, you guys could be seeing some snowfall, have already winter storm warnings and advisories currently issued, and as I said at the start of this video, blizzard warnings as well, shaded in orange, covering almost the entire state of North Dakota and extending into a small bit of eastern Montana and northern South Dakota. Sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater and over 2 feet of snow is possible in some areas. I'll have the snowfall totals later on in this video to pinpoint what areas will see the highest snowfall totals. But first, we're going to time out the severe weather potential that extends all the way into parts of the far north and into the deep south. Here's a future radar plus satellite for the eastern half of the United States with the NAM model starting off with tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You see that heavy snowfall across the Dakotas, Montana, and northern Minnesota. And I think most of the central and southern parts of Minnesota will remain mostly snowfall free, but the northern half of the state could see some decent snowfall totals. Now, on the other side of this system, a strong line of severe thunderstorms is expected to form across eastern Nebraska, Kansas, and move into Iowa and Missouri, where we have all the ingredients available for tornadoes, hail, damage, and winds, and heavy rainfall. That also includes parts of Texas, where a few strong and severe thunderstorms are also likely. I think we will also see tornadoes down there, but the main threat should be gusty winds and large hail. Now, I really think across the Midwest, the major concerns will be large hail to start, and a strong squall line later in the nighttime hours with very strong straight line winds, with embedded tornadoes very likely. If you live in the severe weather impacted areas across the Midwest and Plain states tonight, make sure you have your hazard alerts on your phone and your NOAA weather radio volume turned up, as again we have plenty of ingredients available for these storms to thrive. Here's at 8 p.m. Eastern time the available CAPE, where the values are close to 5,000, along with some wind shear that isn't as impressive, but definitely enough for tornadoes to happen. Now, to midnight tonight, that squall line is extremely well organized and moving eastward into Kansas, western Missouri, and further into Iowa, but will eventually weaken and rain itself out into early tomorrow morning, with a scattered thunderstorm or two still associated with that line. And this will be the start of Wednesday's severe weather threat. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, a look at tonight's Storm Prediction Center outlook, starting with the categorical outlook. A level 4 out of 5 moderate risk for severe thunderstorms is currently in effect for parts of central and western Iowa, where the worst of tonight's severe weather can be expected. 2 level 3 enhanced risks are also in effect around that moderate risk in Iowa that extends further south into Missouri and Kansas, and the other enhanced risk by itself over parts of eastern Texas. Now, from the Storm Prediction Center, there's a moderate risk of severe thunderstorms for far eastern Nebraska and into central Iowa. And there's also an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms for northeastern Kansas into southern Minnesota, as well as portions of central to northern Texas. The summary is scattered severe thunderstorms capable of producing very large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes are expected late this afternoon and tonight across a broad portion of the southern/central plains into the Mississippi Valley. Some of the tornadoes could be strong across western and northern Iowa. The moderate risk thankfully only covers around 800,000 people, still a lot of people. But man, compared to the enhanced risk that covers over 14 million people, the slight risk that covers 30 million, and the marginal that covers 17.5 million people. Quite a lot of people under that categorical severe thunderstorm risk tonight. Now, torcons aren't too impressive tonight, but we do have torcons of 5 and even a small area under a torcon of 6 over Iowa, with most other areas under a 3 or a 4. But even though they are only under a 3 and a 4, it does occupy a rather large area. And same deal mainly for the wind threat tonight, though a decent sized area of nearly 14 million people across the Midwest and Texas under a level 3 risk of damage and wind, and around 500,000 people across Iowa under a level 4 of 5 risk for severe wind. That covers the rest of tonight. Now back to the future radar for tomorrow and Thursday. By 10 a.m., nothing too much is going on, mainly light to moderate rain from the Ohio Valley to the Midwest and into the South, but by the afternoon hours, they do start to pick up a little bit. That squall line tries to reform across Illinois and Missouri. That continues to grow strongly into the evening hours, bringing all severe weather hazards with it. And again, we will have adequate moisture, wind shear, and available energy for much of the day Wednesday. Now into tomorrow night, that line is nearly country border to country border, extended from Texas all the way into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now into the Ohio Valley, we should just have that squall line to deal with, but into the south across Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, we could have some additional storm development ahead of the main line of thunderstorms that could help increase the tornado risk for those areas into the evening and nighttime hours. Now into the very early Thursday morning time frame, this giant storm system is finally starting to run out of steam with just an isolated severe thunderstorm or two left, and by Thursday mid-morning, hopefully things have settled down by then with just some light to moderate rain left. The Storm Prediction Center's categorical outlook for Wednesday once again has a level 4 out of 5 risk issue that is larger than tonight's moderate risk. From the Storm Prediction Center, there's a moderate risk of severe thunderstorms into the lower to mid-Mississippi River Valley. The summary for tomorrow's severe weather outlook is numerous severe thunderstorms appear likely across a large portion of the lower/mid Mississippi Valley into the Midwest and lower Ohio Valley on Wednesday. Damage and winds, some of which could be significant, several tornadoes, some strong, and large to very large hail will likely occur. I personally think the hail threat will remain further to the south, with strong winds and tornadoes covering the entire slight risk area and inward. Major cities under risks include Memphis under a 4, Indianapolis under a 3, Chicago under a 2, and Houston, Texas under a 1. Now for Wednesday's tornado outlook, it is much more impressive than tonight's outlook, with a very large area of over 14 million people under a torcon of 5 or greater. Once again, make sure tonight and tomorrow you have your mobile devices alerts on, or your NOAA weather radio available and volume turned up. It might be a very long day for some of us tonight and tomorrow. But thankfully, by Thursday, the storm system only is forecasted to bring a marginal risk of severe weather across the southeast and east coast. Now, rainfall totals for this event could exceed 2 inches in some areas, according to the NAM model at least, but the highest chance for flooding, I think, will be across the Mississippi and Louisiana region, with isolated 3 to 4 inches of rainfall possible. Now, before we end out this video, let's take a look at the snowfall totals from this very same storm system across the far north. I hope you don't mind winter sticking around a little bit longer in North Dakota, because almost the entire state is expected at least a foot of snow, with isolated amounts of 2 feet or more possible. Wow, that snow will also extend a bit, as I said, into northern Minnesota and also into South Dakota and eastern Montana. Now, this right here is a rather new product produced by the Weather Prediction Center. On a scale of 0 to 5, the severity of the current winter weather events impacts in almost the entire state of North Dakota is under a level 5 out of 5 risk for winter weather impacts. That extends a bit into eastern Montana also. Definitely use caution over the next couple of days if you live within the impacted areas. Well, that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel TRA Weather with notifications on so you can always stay up to date on all of the latest weather news and information. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.